Namo Sakyamuni Buddha, dear all teachers and all practitioners. It is noon time every day, time for us to have Q&A session, as well as to share our experience. We welcome your feedback to help the temple activities to improve and beneficial for you, to help the practitioners to strengthen their belief practice to be aligned with the principle. We remind the upcoming activities. So for the Vesak day today, our ceremony will be very simple. And then when it comes to June, we will have the weekly retreat from the 7th to the 13th of June before the Memorial Day of Venerable Master Truyền Mẫn and all of the people who passed away, that their remainders are kept here at the temple. That they would be considered the common Memorial Day of all of the people at the temple, and it will be will happen on the 14th of June. It's a time for us to pay gratitude to our patriot and also to create an opportunity for people to learn about Zen. After that, we will also have one day retreat at Nanyang Temple in San Jose at the end of June. Anybody have any question about these activities? You can contact us through email and website. These activities are also announced on the website as well as on Facebook, so that you can follow. For our practice, we focus on the practice. Ask the questions. If you have any question, the practice is very simple. Doesn't matter whether you are young or old, male or female. This method require us to emphasize the practice. It's just simple as ask the question, raise the doubt. We don't use this practice to seek for anything else or trade off for anything else. It is just a way to return to our true nature. The practice should be normal and shouldn't require too much uh, too much of your effort. You just need to keep it normal. Like normally, you constantly generate thoughts, different thoughts, whether it's right or wrong, etc., happy or sad. So those thoughts constantly arise. So instead of having those thoughts, we replace those thoughts by the doubt. So even if you are sick, you are old, or you are suffering, you have to know that it's because of your different discrimination and attachment and illusion and ignorance. So if you can replace those with your practice of asking the question normally, So always ask, like, for example, where did I come from? Where I was born? Where will I go after I die? So the issue of birth and death is very important, but normally people don't focus on that. They instead focus on something else. So when we ask this question, our tendency of wanting to know but cannot know the answer will generate the doubt, and the doubt will lead us to the source of ignorance, attachment, and birth and death. The doubt will also end uh, the root of birth and death, and there, from there we will be able to be free and be able to control our own birth and death and not be controlled by um, the three worlds. So that is the talking about the method of quiet meditation. Right now, anybody has any question, you can bring it up, or for the questions that was raised in the morning that we didn't have time to address, you can ask again now. I wasn't able to hear about the question. Um, thầy said this is a skillful means to transcend attachment. Master likewise said if you can ask the question and able to raise the doubt will fulfill all of the skillful means, all of the dharmas, and that is a way um to put out one of the vow into action. The dharma are endless. We vow to learn them all. Um, when we are talking about the parameters, some schools mention 6 types of parameters, while the other mentions about 10 types of parameters. So it doesn't matter whether it's 6 or 10, those are just skillful means. Or even when the Buddha talked about the 52 levels of attainment, or sometime for some sutra, it was talking about 57 levels of attainment. Those are just skillful means, not really a difference. So when we ask the question and raise it out, we are actually put conduct all of the activities, including the worldly activities and the non-worldly activities, from the normal human realm to the sense realms. The 6 parameters include offering, um, keep the precepts, uh, being patient, um, etc. And to practice this, we do it on all of the activities from talking to um, acting. So when we do offering, we do it. um, The ultimate offering is to offering your own ego. Same thing for keeping the precepts. It is kind of similar. So when we're talking about the 6 parameters, we just need to talk about one. One includes 6, and 6 are included in one. They are not uh, the or the 10 realms, the 10 Dharma realms are also within the mind, not out of the mind. So when we are able to utilize the skillful means, you will be able to understand the non-dualistic Dharma. So if you keep asking the question and raise the doubt gradually, you will be able to understand the skillful means. Like the preacher always said, if one day you won't be able to meet any wise teacher uh, to certify your achievements. Uh, or one of the patriot was able to get enlightened right away, while the other take like 8 months to get enlightened. So doesn't matter which cases they are all skillful means, and they rely on the wise teachers to help certify their practice and help them be more clear on their practice. But this can only be done between the people who get enlightened. Just like when they get enlightened, they will automatically know, like someone who drink water, whether it's cold or hot, they will know themselves. So when we practice, if we just if we have any other thought, that thought would be deluded thought. So the right view of uh, the right thought of Zen is um, no thought. If there any thought at all, that thought would be considered deluded thought in Zen. So our method keep ask the question and raise the doubt. Um, all of the external conditions will just be skillful means um, to support us if we practice and we focusing on entering the stream, not exiting the stream, then we will be fine. Like our patriot said, we don't need to hide away from the external conditions. We just need to keep our practice when we face the external conditions. So always ask the question and raise the doubt. Miss Tan, please. The thầy or teachers and practitioners in, in the morning, anh Hưng asked something. I don't remember fully, but I suddenly think about my own question before. He is asking about the second sentence of a verse about the knowledge. She asked if we have to wait until when we get enlightened to be able to understand the wonder of the function of the knowledge. Could you please explain further? I said this is equivalent to what was mentioned in the Surangama Sutra. The knowledge is the sickness from the time without beginning. If if we add attachment to the common knowledge, then it will become deluded perception, and the deluded perception will lead to suffering. But if based on the common knowledge, we could end the attachment or discrimination, then we don't fall into suffering anymore. Like in the Platform Sutra, the sixth patriarch said, we use all of the senses, but we don't give rise to deluded thoughts. If we don't give rise to deluded thought, then we go in the right path. If we give rise to deluded thought, then we fall into the wrong path. So the Surangama said the knowledge is sickness from the time of beginning. That is when we are still within delusion. But when we are enlightened, then all of those knowledge will be wonderful knowledge. So whenever there still is attachment, discrimination, ignorance, then um, we are still within sickness and generate karma. But once we get enlightened, then we see everything through our wisdom, not through our consciousness. Then we don't put attachment into the common knowledge. We are able to discern all the dharmas without raising attachment. So we need to sweep away all of those attachment, and the only way is the right dharma of prajna. The prajna is to move away from duality, from subject and object, because of the subject and object, we generate attachment and generate karma, and therefore we have to go through suffering. But these are just skillful means that the Buddha have no choice but have to say because of the sickness of the sentient being, because of this illusion. That's why we talk about enlightenment. Just like when people are sick, they might feel the house is spinning, but in reality, no house is spinning at all. They just need to get healthy, and then they will be able to see that the house always is stable. So nirvana is always ready, is already ready. It has no beginning, no ending. And that's why some patriots said enlightenment is equivalent to not enlightenment. But only enlightenment will help us to move away from subject object and duality. She said, if we still have the knowing, like knowing that we are practicing, it means that we are still in attachment perception, right? Thầy said because we are trying to enter a stream, but we haven't finished entering the stream yet. Um,
Tịch cũng là mất, tịch cũng là hết, tịch cũng là xong. Thì cái trên cái nghĩa của văn tự của chữ nghĩa thôi á. Bây giờ mình đang đang
we are
nêu bật
still
cái
on our
cái
way
cái
to
quy tắc
entering the
là
stream.
nó sống động cái ý thức, luôn luôn bên ngoài chạy theo tướng tương đối nhất
Um,
sở. Thì bây giờ á, mình đang tham thiền là đang để
so
cho
we are
quy
asking
tắc
when now we are practicing. We are still practicing to ask the
thiền
question
cứu á,
and raise the doubt.
không, thiền
We
cứu
just
không
need to
tu được
keep
cái
the
quá trình
practice
suy nghĩ
and
á,
seek out the
chưa kịp
learning
hỏi, à,
uninterruptedly.
chưa có trời đất,
Ask the question
không biết
uninterruptedly, like
hàng
before
ngày,
heaven and earth come into existence, what was I? Just keep asking.
Cảm ơn thầy. Dạ con có một cái ý kiến này nữa.
She
Mấy
says
tuần
she has
trước
another
thì cái tâm ý thức con
comment.
cũng mà lanh lắm. Cái gì thầy
Last
nói
week,
ra con cũng
my
cũng có
consciousness is
cái
very
câu trả
active.
lời.
Anything
Mà
that you
mấy cái
said,
vị hành giả hỏi
I
thì tự nhiên con có khởi
I
lên cái tâm con
automatically
nói con
generate
thử coi
question
con trả lời
answers
được
to
hay
um,
cái con
the
thấy không
questions
được
of
rồi, cái này sai cái
all of
này
the
cái xong con đứng
practitioners.
lại con nói coi
And I
con
feel like,
hiểu
oh,
không
this
hiểu
is
con
not
hỏi
okay.
con
Maybe
nghe thôi con
I fall into the wrong
con
path.
ý vô một
I
cái
should
trả
just
lời
listen to other
thì con
people's
phải biết là
question
con sai
instead of
cái này
generating
thì nó mới
answers
đúng.
to their questions.
Cảm ơn
Could you
thì cái đó
please
là cái
uh,
thôi. Bây giờ mình có cái
talk
phải
about
sai,
this
mình
more?
có cái nên có không nên thì lúc mà mình
Thầy
quên,
said,
mà
it is
hơi kém
still
nữa
your
nó
common
mình
habits,
muốn quên á, ghét lại muốn
um,
quên, càng muốn quên lại càng nhớ. Cho nên ở đây á,
where
mình
you
để ý tới
started to
rất là nhiều
generate
cái
ideas.
nó lộ ra trước mặt. Cho nên tại sao mà tổ sư mới
Our
phải
patriarch taught
gọi là phải
us
đối cảnh giới
to
đối duyên mới
to
là phải
face the
không một
external
ai là đối
conditions
thủ.
when we
Nếu
practice
mà mình
instead
không
of
có
trying to hide away from the
mình
external
phản
conditions.
ứng á, gọi là phản ứng
If we
trên tâm
try
thái
to
thì
hide
cái tâm
away
mình
from
là để mình
the
bớt
external
phản
conditions,
ứng càng
for
nhiều
example, if we
thì
try
càng tốt.
to
Nên ở
react
cái chỗ đó đề thoại đó là
um,
thiền tình thôi, chứ không có phản ứng, không có nổi lên
react
điềm tĩnh,
to
không có
all
phản
of
ứng
the
theo
outside
phản ứng theo tùy
activities,
duyên. Nên thường
it
nó
will
hay như
make
vậy.
us
Cho nên giống như là
more
bạn thấy
confused.
cái bản chất của ngã, của vô
So
minh,
those are
của
just
bất
common
thiện á,
habits
như
um,
đứa bé ở đây bên núi lớn lên
generated
gặp
from
cái hành động gì
ignorance.
nó tốt á thì phải tốt đâu, đưa xuống núi
Like
đi,
a
nó gặp
a
cái
kid,
vấn đề gì là nó phản ứng liền,
if he or she stay away
nó theo cái
from
ý chí
everyone,
chủ là
like
liền.
just stay in the mountain,
Cái tập khí
he seems very calm.
ác ôn của nó
But when
nó
he
liền, không có mất
come
gì hết
down,
á, nó chìm xuống
um,
không có mất. Cho nên á,
come down
ví
and
dụ
be
như mình
interact
đến cái đỉnh
and
cao
start
á, cái cội
interacting with
nguồn
other
sống sót á,
people, then he will
thì cái
start
vượng xứ
to
đó
generate a lot of
coi như người
common
ta mất cũng không có
habits.
giải thoát nữa. Cái đỉnh đó vừa hết, cái phước trời đó vừa tận hết,
Just like the people
thì
who
nó cái
practice
niềm ác nhất nó cũng vừa diệt.
meditation
Giống như là
to
cái
reach
cồn
to
báu
the
đi là cái
highest
bão
level
đưa
of
để
the
đào
heaven
giếng
realm.
đào nước để bắt cá.
Uh,
Cái niềm
but
ác đó nó
once
sẽ
once
khởi lên đầu
he
tiên hết á,
get out of
là
meditation,
cái
get
cơ
out of
hội tốt.
samadhi,
Dạ.
he
Cho
will
nên
have
đối với
to
cái thiền
come
định
down
á, là nó không có đụng chuyện là
into the animal
nó
realm.
vẫn đụng chuyện là nó sinh ra, mà mình cứ đè nén ức chế đó
So if we
là cái
try to
một cái cây gà
suppress
cỏ không
um,
đề thì cái phản lực ngược lại của nó
our
càng mạnh.
our
Giống như
thinking
mình
or
ấn
try
xuống
to
vùng nước á,
suppress our
thì khi mình
feeling, it
buông
will
buông
start
ra
to
được á,
react
là bắt đầu
even
ấn càng sâu,
stronger.
tinh mình càng cao. Đó là cái phản lực. Cho nên á, mình không có được lấy cái
Therefore, we
ý
should
thức
not use
để mà
our consciousness to
để thức tỉnh
react.
bất kỳ một cái gì. Cho nên cái nên với không nên, hai cái đó là tương
Um,
tự trong
should or
trong
should
cái
not, they are the
thiền.
two
Cho nên
forms
thì cái thiền
conflicting
định đó
with
nó
one another and
nó
fighting with
là
one another.
cái phương pháp giải thoát á. Cho nên nó đối với lại cái
That is
phương pháp
sickness,
chuyển hóa
not
vấn đề
liberation.
thì thiền
So
định là nó
the,
rất
for
là
the
tương đối,
practice of liberation, we
tương
just
đương
need
là
to
siêu
ask
thoát.
the question and raise a doubt.
Dạ con
And
hiểu
that's
rồi.
why we can move away from duality. Good or bad?
Ly hả? Lấy cái micro cho Ly hỏi.
Dạ, Nam mô Bổn sư Thích Ca
Namo
Mâu Ni Phật.
Shakyamuni Buddha,
Thầy và
dear
quý thầy
Thai,
cô
all
và các vị
teachers,
đồng
and
tu.
all
Ngày hôm nay là ngày
practitioners.
Phật
Today
đản
is
ngày
the
tham thiền thứ
Vesak
42.
day.
Khai thị giảng
Could you
ngày
please
thứ nhất.
talk a little
Tham
bit more
thiền là
about
ý
the
nghĩa của
meaning
việc Đức
of
Phật
this
mời
day
sám
and the
hối
meaning
tứ
of
hôn á,
showering
bán hay
the
đi
Buddha?
để tắm Phật?
from the other temple that teaching the indirect method. Also, my daughter is here today. Could you please explain
Thực ra nó
in a more easily way? Thank you, thầy.
cái ý nghĩa
Thầy said it's actually very simple. The meaning of the Vesak day,
với Tam Bảo
if we
vậy đó, người ta nói là mừng đản sanh giống mình, mừng sinh nhật của mình đó, vui sinh nhật của
it's
cha
like
mẹ.
celebrating
Đức
a
Phật
birthday.
là cha lành của ba con,
And the Buddha is the father of the three realms,
luôn luôn kính trọng
the desire realm, the form realm, and the non-form realms. So he is the great father of
cái
all the realms,
tri ân báo ơn
and therefore
là cái
paying gratitude to the Buddha is
nếu
our
mà
responsibility.
có
If we
biết
we
tri ân báo
don't
ơn á thì mình
know
chỉ
to
là
how to be
sứ giả
grateful
của
to
người
the
ta,
Buddha, then we are actually a
tức là
fake
nó
Buddhist,
gắn
not
cái
a real
nghiệp
Buddhist,
mình
because
với
we are
thân ta.
tricking
Nên
others
dù
and
có đơn
tricking
giản và long trọng
ourselves.
cái gì hết á, mà đối với cái tâm muốn
So
của mình
even if we don't have
hưởng
a
Phật
big ceremony,
mà
but if
mình đem
in
cái
our mind we always
cái sự tri
think
ân của
about the
mình
Buddha and we
mình
use our
cúng dường cho Phật
practice,
cũng như người
our
tri ân.
genuine practice to offer to the Buddha, that is the best way to pay gratitude to the Buddha.
Không phải mình á, có tiền đem tiền mình đưa cho cha
Same
mẹ,
thing for a good kid.
mà đối với
Um,
tình thương của
they
cha mẹ đối với con cái, cái
they
tình
don't
thương
need
của
to
cha
bring a
mẹ
lot
đối
of
với
money
con
to
cái
their
trong cái xã hội á,
parent.
mình thấy mình biết
You know,
nhiều người ta ý lại cái đồng tiền của cha
some
cái
some
đem xuống là giống như là tự do
some
mà
people
kể
think that
công trên
money
kể công bên đó thì
is the
đó lúc
best
đó là
and
xài thôi,
think that as long
chứ
as
không
they
biết
give money to other
không biết tình
people,
thương gì hết á,
um,
mà có khi nó còn
then that's how they pay
mẹ
gratitude to them.
nó nói là không
But
dạy.
in
Lúc đó
reality, there's not much love
tức là
in
cái đồng
that.
tiền xuống thôi, chứ rồi á, ý lại trong đó mình á, người mẹ hay người cha làm những cái chuyện khác mà giống như che giấu nó, đâu có mà nên nó đâu.
So
Hoặc là đối với người con ấy thì lợi dụng,
like
đôi khi lợi dụng
for
cái
example, some
biết
kids
có
just give
nhiều quá gần
money
làm
to their
cái
parent
cái
but
lợi
don't
dụng
really
thì nó cũng là
stay
một cái
close to their
cái
parent and listen to their parent.
phối hợp
Then
nhịp nhàng với nhau á.
um,
Người thì phá gia
that
chồng,
is not
người
really
cha
going
thì
aligned with one
phá gia
another.
thì ngược lại, không có phải cái tình cảm gia đình mà toàn là cái gì,
Like
cái
some
hưởng thụ
kids
vật chất thôi,
overspend their parents'
cho nên
money,
cái ngã chấp
while the other, even though giving
cái
their
đó nó
parents
cái
money,
ngã
but then
bản ngã của
they
mình, ego mình của
they
mình
really
tồn
just
tại,
follow other things,
cái
not
đó gọi
really
là
pay
cái
attention to their
gia đình.
parents.
Đó là nói về gia đình.
So that is to talk about
Còn
families.
đối với lại cái sự tu tập á, giáo
Now talk about the
cái
practice.
sự giải thoát, đó là cái
Liberation is the
mình
foundation.
ít nhất thì cũng
We
phải
at least
có cái đạo đức
have
là
the
căn bản,
basic
trong cái
morality
đạo đức là căn bản tri ân báo ơn
uh,
trước đã, rồi
that
sau
is
đó
being grateful.
những nhân thừa nó phải hoàn thành sau đó mới lên tới thượng thừa,
That means we are
từ
doing
thượng
the
thừa
vehicle
tới
of human. After that,
căn
we
bản.
go
Đối
into
với
the
người
vehicle of
tu tập thì hỏi làm
heavenly
sao mà
being.
gọi là giải thoát.
Like some
Đối với
people, they don't even
trong đạo
are
đức
not able to meet the
Buddha
stand,
dạy
the minimum
rất là
standard,
rõ,
and there's no way they can
cái đó
reach
là đo lường.
liberation.
Nên nói
This
chung
is
là
taught very
tri ân
clearly
báo ơn
by the Buddha.
phải biết thì có khi cái hoàn cảnh nhân duyên mà mình vì cái sự tri ân báo ơn mình lo mà lấy cái sự tri
So,
ân chân
in
thành
order
tu
to
tập
pay the
mình
gratitude,
báo ơn
we
thầy,
should use
mình báo ơn cha mẹ,
the genuine
báo ơn Phật.
practice
Nó là
to
cái
pay our gratitude to the
thân của
Buddha, the patriarch,
thầy mình,
the
thầy mình
teachers.
lễ dỗ như bổn sư mình chỉ tâm niệm
For example, for
ngày
us,
dỗ, mình biết
you
là
know,
hôm nay là ngày dỗ thầy,
we always keep in
ngày ra
mind,
đời
you
của
know,
Buddha,
the Memorial Day is
đều có
today.
những cái sự cúng kính mỗi nơi mỗi
Uh,
chỗ, mỗi
each
cái hoàn cảnh,
each
mỗi nhân
places,
duyên,
each temple, they have different way to
mình thì âm thầm thôi,
celebrate the
mình đem
Vesak
cái
Day.
đó thôi cũng được rồi, tưởng
For
niệm
us,
được
we
rồi.
do it
Sau đó mình
quietly.
chỉ là dùng
Um,
cái sự tu tập
Maybe just
để
offering some
mình
rice
thầy mình giống như
quietly, but then instead we use our practice to pay gratitude to our teachers and our Buddha. So that is each person's way of paying gratitude. So the Vesak day, when we talk about Buddha, Buddha means enlightenment. Because we want to pay gratitude to the Buddha, we need to find a way to manifest the Buddha nature within us. Meaning we find a way to maintain the right Dharma of the Buddha. And then we be a good example of practicing the right Dharma, using the right Dharma to water the wholesome seed within our mind. So be sincere on the practice on the liberation and 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 just quietly spread it out to other people. That is also a way to pay gratitude. So we have to always prioritize enlightenment and liberation. Everything else, we just need to do according to the conditions. So today, the Vesak day, normally it falls into the full moon. But the calendar of uh the month of India is different from other countries. The the eighth day of India normally is the full moon day, but for the other country in the east, the full moon fall into the 15th, and therefore the Buddhist society decide to use the full moon day. Also, the Buddhist calendar could vary from one to the other. For example, the Buddhist calendar is 2,600 something, but for the Buddhist calendar in Zen, this year is already over 3,000 something, not 2,600 something. So we eventually come up with the same day, the same year. This year is the year of 2,669. Those are the skillful means of uh, the world Buddhist society, because we remember Sakyamuni Buddha. That's why we get together to have a ceremony. And from that ceremony, we have the chance to listen to the Dharma, the practice. So the verse of showering the Buddha that um our temple, whenever we recite the verse of showering the Buddha, we also use that to shower all of the impurities within our mind. You know, we're not really showering Shakyamuni Buddha. We are actually showering the Buddha nature within us. That is also paying gratitude to the Buddha. I started reciting the verse. The meaning of the verse is we use our own wisdom, or meaning our practice, our doubt, to offer to the Buddha, to use the thought of transcend attachment as the wisdom thought.
Ngũ trượt chúng sanh tịnh ly cấu. Cái bài này là cái bài trong kinh Hoa Nghiêm. Tức là ngã kim quán mộc chư Như Lai, tịnh trí trang nghiêm công đức tụ, ngũ trượt chúng sanh tịnh ly cấu, đồng chứng Như Lai tịnh pháp thân. Thì đúng là trên cái sự công phu, sự tu tập của mình thôi, chứ đâu phải là đâu quán mộc là đang tắm là gột rửa tất cả những cái cấu trượt.
So when we're showering the Buddha statue, we actually cleaning all of the impurities within ourselves.
Tầng diệt tỳ gia thành lý bất tầng sanh. Tức là nói là cái chỗ sa la là cái chỗ mà Đức Phật nhập niết bàn á, chỗ sanh diệt á chưa từng diệt, ở chỗ sanh thành ca tỳ la vệ chưa từng sanh. Tức là khi mà đến cái chỗ giải thoát á, thì đó là cái thị hiện tướng tướng đẳng sanh, thị hiện
And what the Buddha trying to say is there's no birth and death. He just display the birth and the pass away of Shakyamuni Buddha as a display.
Lão Cồ Đàm. Tức là nói về Phật á, thì là cái chỗ bất sanh bất diệt. Nếu mà mình thấy có sanh diệt á, là nhãn trung kháng kiến trùng thêm tiết, là giống như ở trong mắt mình nổi cái mạc vàng á. Cho dù đó là vàng đi nữa, giống như là cái lời Phật, hình ảnh Phật á, hình ảnh giác ngộ hay sự giác ngộ á, mà mình không có chịu tu, chưa được giác ngộ, mình đeo bám đó giống như là vàng lọt vô mắt thôi. Mà vàng nó lọt vô mắt cũng sốn, cũng khó chịu, cũng đâu có thể nhìn ra được đâu. Nhãn trung kháng kiến trùng thêm tiết. Kim kiêu chánh thị tứ hoạt bát, là ngày hôm nay là ngày 8 tháng 4, tứ hoạt bát. Định phạn vương cung sanh tất đạt, tức là vua Định Phạn á, sinh ra thái tử.
Today is the 8th of April. King Định Phạn give birth to the Prince Siddhartha.
Chính phòng rồng phun nước từ ở ngoài phương trời bên ngoài vào để mà tắm, và ở nơi trưng
And
thái tử tự nhiên mọc tinh.
the dragons spin out the water to shower the Buddha, and from the Buddha the lotus water grow. So that is the verse of showering the Buddha that we normally recite. It is also talking about the meaning of non-duality, the theory of no birth, and or another way of talking about the self-nature. So when we are able to attain liberation, that is also a way to offering to the Buddha, paying gratitude to the Buddha, or also the meaning of sharing the Buddha today. I am not sure if the younger is able to understand. Anyone else has question, you can ask.
Dạ, bạch thầy, xin thầy giảng thêm cho chúng con.
Dear Thầy, can you talk more about
Phương pháp trực tiếp với là phương pháp gián tiếp trong đạo Phật?
what is the direct method versus indirect method in Buddhism? Thank you, Thầy. So talking about direct versus indirect, it's still a skillful means. Just using words, it's still within duality. the direct method means we move away from subject
Còn cái gián tiếp luôn nằm trong cái năng
duality versus the indirect is always still within subject object and duality. For example, delusion versus enlightenment, Buddha versus sentient being, rich versus poor, right versus wrong, all of those are duality. So to move away from duality means we keep the prajna. The prajna means form versus emptiness is the same. Is not to
nên sẽ không còn có cái để chọn lựa chấp trên đó nữa, chấp ngã trên đó nữa. Nếu như giàu với nghèo mình muốn giàu đâu.
And when we are able to transcend the duality, then attachment will be gone.
Đánh đổi, phải tranh hơn thua, phải đắc thất á, cho nên á mình phải khổ trên đó mà mình đâu có biết. Tất cả đó đều là vọng, tất cả đó đều là danh tướng, chạy theo danh, chạy theo tướng, mà danh tướng là cái không thật.
Whenever we're chasing after name, after form, we're just gonna fall into suffering because all of those are not real.
Nói trên cái tri kiến giàu nghèo đi, tri kiến về phân biệt giàu nghèo đi.
For example, when we're talking about people's view about rich and poor, so what is considered truly rich or truly poor? And some people also attach rich as happy, poor as sad. So what is truly sad? What is truly happy? You know, we don't really have a standard. For example, for the people who are really poor, when they get a little bit more money, they will be very happy. While the people who are very rich, if they cannot get much richer more, then they will feel like they are lacking. So it's very difficult to define what is really rich or poor. So happiness of each person, in order to have that, we have to know what is enough. We need to feel content with what we have. That's the way for us to stop chasing after those duality. But lots of people never feel content with what they have, and therefore their mind never calm down. They keep chasing for more and more.
Cũng với phương tiện á, trên cái tương đối đó mà Đức Phật mới phương tiện giống như chỗ mê với ngộ, chúng sanh với Phật vậy đó.
And from that duality, the Buddha also give out skillful means, like based on good versus bad. The Buddha direct people to the good and away from the bad. So that is an indirect Dharma. But the direct Dharma is to move away from both sides, good or bad, to move away from both duality. And therefore, there's only one direct method. That is to go towards prajna, which is move away from duality. Even when we practice now, we are still not being able to fully do it directly. We still have to follow the teachings of the Buddha and the patriarch in order for us to practice the direct Dharma. Only when we are able to keep the doubt as a solid doubt, that is when we're truly entering the direct method. For example, for the indirect method where people wish to go to the Western blissful Pure Land. That is an indirect method because they are tired of this Saha world and then want to go to a different Pure Land. But the direct method is there's no pure versus impure. So when we practice the direct method, entering into the direct method, we will be able to stay right here and being pure. So this method, we don't even contemplate like some other method. So we actually move away from duality. You need to have belief in the mind and have to practice. And when you practice well, you will be able to realize the prajna. Because all the words that we are saying right now is still within indirect Dharma. So let's doing walking meditation now. Goodbye everyone. Namo Shakya Muni Buddha.